Hey guys, our team is launching a new initiative, HWPO Give. Each month we'll choose a charity to highlight and donate to, and we'll share the stories to encourage our community to get involved if they choose. We're kicking off our first month of HWPO Give with one summit, and we're excited to have the founder Adam LaRue and founding board member Steve Hardy here to share more about the amazing work that they're doing. Let's jump into it. Guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for making the trip.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, Matt.
Was all right. Easy. You know, we got good dumping of snow up here.
Yeah. Roads were clear. We were good.
Awesome. Well, guys, first off, thank you guys for making the trip. Thank you for taking the time. You want to kick it off with telling us about One Summit and what you guys do.
Sure. Yeah. So One Summit builds resilience in children with cancer. We partner Navy SEALs and kids with cancer, and we build resilience through rock climbing. So we're teaching a lot of lessons there. We're trying to build resilience, self-confidence, courage that promotes that foundation, and we do it through experiential learning programs, community events, and partnering with like two like-minded warriors in different aspects of their world and bringing them together, which amazing things happen.
I didn't think of it like that. Yeah, that's incredible.
What is also clear, and there's ongoing research that shows this, that the SEALs benefit as much as the kids.
Oh, I imagine, yeah.
They process their own demons working with these kids, and they learn a lot. As one said to me, and I wrote a bunch of blogs with another of the employees, what they learn from the kids is the little things. And that's the key to resilience, isn't it? The little things matter. Accomplishing that one little thing keeps you moving forward, and that's what the kids do. So it's very inspiring.
Yeah, those are some interesting points that I didn't even think of. You hear, Navy SEALs getting partnered up with a child with cancer to, overcome something, and you immediately think, oh, it's only benefiting the kid. And then you're like, oh no, there's benefit there for the adult as well. Of, there's so many parallels that they're both going through. They're completely different venues, but so many parallels. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I think the gateway is this climb for courage, and that's usually like the entry point for a lot of them. And you're bringing kids and the mentors that never met each other before, and you're kind of creating this experience. And we bring them in and we get them onboarding sheets and showing them a little bit about what their likes and dislikes are, and things, the favorite shows and movies, and it's not all G.I. Joe stuff. Obviously we pair each SEAL and their mentee up in different ways, and it's usually hey, someone has a young daughter, and I pair them up with a young girl that's battling cancer, and it's just an incredible experience. We bring them through this like gauntlet of guys, mentors. And then it starts like that first step of teaching them how to like put their gear on correctly. And it's a huge leap of trust because most of them haven't climbed before, most of the mentees, and they're trusting them very similar, like they're trusting their doctors and their parents to do the right things and take care of them. But the experience over that couple hours, and that just kicks off the lifelong relationship, and amazing things have come out of it from there.
What struck me, and it was a no-brainer for me to get involved when Adam asked me. He was a very close friend of Nate's. But my oldest boy was a cancer kid. He was a Dana-Farber kid, and he fought a 17-month battle against brain cancer. So I knew how much, the doctors always told us how much they learn from the kids. And I knew it would be the same with the SEALs. That first climb for courage, what struck me, here you had, whatever, it might have been 15 SEALs. Most of them were from the top tier. So, and this is 2014, so they've seen it all. But to see how nervous they were, waiting for the kids to come. That was just an odd reversal. They were all very nervous, and they told us about that after.
Train.
Yeah.
And it's never in socializing with a child.
And a couple of years later, Adam always had a nice pre-event dinner. And he would invite an expert to come in. And the team guys would be there. And I remember one time, and these guys are always, they take great pride in being able to problem solve. So they're listening to this expert, and one of them raises his hands, and he goes, so are you going to tell us what disease, what the exact cancer is and what the prognosis is? And she looked at him and goes, no, take your cues from the kids.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is.
Wow. So.
If you think about it, is like, you know, a lot of these kids is like their pathway in life of playing sports and going to school, and then they get a curveball, and they get the news like no parent wants to hear, and it changes the direction of where they are. And obviously, you know, they missed a part of their childhood. So this day is about, and this experience is about having fun. We're trying to build resiliency, building skills, where trust, setting goal setting, moving not getting overwhelmed with like climbing a big mountain, one hand and foothold at a time, incremental steps, knowing that there's a lot of falls in life and missteps, but you still can get back in it. And the route you think you're going to take and the route you actually take are going to be two different things, but you still can make it. You can still make your goal. Yeah. And they come out of it just with big smiles. And the big thing is just have a good time. Yeah. Like have fun. So that has been amazing. Yeah.
So you mentioned that, you know, the SEALs are nervous when they're waiting for the kids. What's the reaction from the kids? Are they nervous or are they excited?
There is mixed. It's mixed. Yeah. I think they don't. You know, the warm up beforehand, we try to manage like expectations with the parents and kids, because when we first put it together, even going to the hospitals, like Dana-Farber is the premier hospital in the country with tackling children's cancer, and we went there first because we pitched this in a lot of different ways, and we said, hey, we'd like to merge these two worlds together, and people couldn't see the correlation, and a lot of hospitals didn't want to take the jump. And I'd be remiss to not talk about Lisa Scherber at Dana-Farber, because she gave us her first shot. It's everybody who gives you that first shot and said, we'll try it out. And we want to get everybody's expectations. We want to kind of talk about what their day is going to be like and talk to the parents. And the parents are taking a big leap too. Yeah. Because a lot of it is like they haven't done anything physical for a really long time. Yeah. Some of them are incredible athletes, and now they haven't played sports in a long time, or maybe a lot of the hospitals are saying, hey, I don't want them interacting with other people or even climbing potential
taking this risk.
Vulnerability. Yeah, but that that mind and body connection, that power there, and the kids are nervous and they're excited and they're like kind of bouncing up and down. But when that initial link up happens and we connect them, like immediately you can see everything kind of settles out. Yeah. And it's like two lions coming to each other in the middle of the jungle, and they're just like they're different. Yeah. And then we're like, okay, we're gonna be friends today.
The first climb was all Dana-Farber, and Adam was just delighted. Lisa had helped get these kids, and when he told me about it, I said, well, I'm gonna call Steve Sallin, he was Josh's oncologist, and even then, back in 91, 92, he was one of the world's renowned pediatric oncologists. He rose to be the physician-in-chief at Dana-Farber. So I said to Adam, well, let's get Steve Sallin. And Lisa at Dana-Farber goes, Steve Sallin, you can't get him. Yeah. And I said, watch me. Yeah. I emailed him and he got right back to us. Yeah. And he said, wow. And he had served in the Navy, so there was a connection. Okay. And he came and watched, and he wrote afterwards, it was the single most transformative and effective intervention he had ever seen in all his years of dealing with kids with cancer.
That's the review that you're hoping for.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think speaking on that, talking about the first one, how did One Summit start? Like it's a pretty, I would say a pretty bold idea of, all right, we're going to take these elite soldiers and then these kids with cancer, and we're going to bring them together. Like, how did that first bridge get crossed?
Yeah, it probably wasn't. It wasn't out of. It was something that's pretty tragic for my own family. It was something that my mother passed from cancer. I was my first deployment at the time. So it was something that our family was always half full. Like, hey, we're gonna beat this. She had breast cancer. She passed at 57. And, I kind of hit the family pretty hard. And naturally would say, hey, what can I do? I didn't know anything about cancer at the time, because it was like the first person really I ever knew got cancer. Didn't know how it affected. I saw how it impacted between the chemotherapy and radiation and like just the dynamic. So I wanted to immerse myself in that world, because I didn't know anything about it. And I'm like, how can I help? And so I started volunteering at cancer foundations, and I came across some inspiring people. My mother was incredibly inspiring. She, you know, she was a second grade teacher, but got up early to help all of her kids, and stayed late to help her kids. Right? I mean, just just an impressive person that just like values and character and just working hard and doing the right thing in life. And
so who you want teaching second grade?
Who you want teaching second grade, 100%. And then and as I started, I saw the tremendous women, tremendous men, and then I got exposed to like little kids that were battling. I'm like, wow, this seems like a very unfair fight to me, and how can we even the odds? And what can we do to even odds? At the same time, I'm in the SEAL teams and standing next to just the most incredible group of men that I've ever met in my life. People that do extraordinary things every day, but make them super ordinary, super humble. And I was just in awe of the people who I got to work with. So I see these two sides of my world, and I'm like in the middle of it. I'm like, what about moving these things together? And I knew something experiential. I always thought of rock climbing like life. Like there is a lot of things, a lot of journeys, and this mountain got thrown right in the middle of their nice little path when they think they're, whatever they are in their journey as childhood, they got this monumental task to overcome. And we have a lot of resilience building skills maybe that are naturally inherent in some of the special operation groups, but they still need to be practiced at home. Like that, those are not forever. And so that's when Steve was talking about merging these like-minded groups. I never thought there would be such a benefit on the SEAL side. Didn't see that connection early on, but maybe that's why I was volunteering at the same time. But merging those two worlds together, then we started it and we pitched it a lot of different places. No one thought it was a good idea. But we came across the head child life specialist at Dana-Farber, and they're super progressive. And we're like, we kind of like the plan. When planning and executing and trying to execute flawlessly, it was kind of what we did. And so we just mitigate all the contingencies, all their concerns, and then just laid away a good plan and just let it happen. And we got good reviews on the first one, and it kept on generating more success.
That's incredible.
One, if I could add too, one of the other aspects of the climbs and the follow-up is the transformation within the larger family group. The siblings and the parents. So I was involved in writing blogs on the One Summit site, and we did one on Selma, a young girl who had a long battle, but her parents were so nervous. She shouldn't do this, she shouldn't do that. And they finally relented and let her do the climb, and she died not long after, but what the mom said, the mom wrote a letter, and she basically said that transformed us for the rest of our lives, that you have to take on these battles. You can't be afraid. And to me, that was, wow. That was one of the most moving testimonies.
Her brother, the sibling side, so her brother was there as part of the climb, because it was, just listening to those that are in the trenches every day, and that's like, the healthcare workers, the child life specialists, the doctors, and they're like, hey, do you have anything for siblings? Can you add siblings to this program? Can we have climb? Like, absolutely, they need their stuff too. And so obviously there's a lot of attention where it's deserved on, if you have a child and that needs help. And then the other child is like, what else is there for the rest of the children? So we're like, they have their own mentor, they bring them there. And on that story, it was a climb, I had a great relationship with him. Young, it was, I think it was just older. Not too much, but like 2 years young. Like I'd say 6, maybe.
Oh, wow.
When I went to Selma's funeral, and her mother was like, "Hey, go get Adam." And he ran over, grabbed my hand, brought me there, and was like, walk, take Adam up to Selma, And when I saw courage and resilience and power of like one kid, I'm like, you're resilient, man, and you're stronger than anything I've seen on the battlefield before.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it's something that everyone's so focused on, the child with cancer, and it's like, oh, their siblings going through it too. Like a piece of their childhood is getting stripped away. They're dealing with issues that, you hope that you don't deal with until you're in your old age of losing a family member or losing someone close.
if you want, that's a segue to Nate.
Yeah, yeah. So I think before we jump into that, you know, give a little preface to how you two know each other.
Well, February 4th, 2008, not a good day.
Yeah.
The next day, we flew down to Virginia Beach, and we went to the house. Parker was 7 months old. Mindy's family was coming in, so the command put us up at a beach place that in the summer we never would have been able to get. Navy people would get it, but it was February. And Adam brought us over, and that's probably when we first met Adam. And a third guy, Justin Davis, who was involved in this workout of the day, they were there every day for 10 days. Lucky for us that they just worked out on their schedules. And that's when we first got to know what a guy Adam was, you know. I'll never forget, if you remember that, it's probably that third night, Adam drove us back over, and he got a call. If you remember, he said, Nate's home. He had finally, because there's a lot of processing.
Yeah.
His body had finally gotten to Dover. And we may get in trouble for this, Adam, but they broke all the rules typical of the Navy SEALs. And we had they brought his body down to Virginia Beach, which is a no-no. Yeah. It was supposed to go right to Arlington. And we had a private showing, remember, at that little, typical of the Navy SEALs. Somehow they broke all protocol, but he was a friend of Nate's. And
for
I guess I first met Adam at the baby shower.
Yeah, that's right.
At Parker's baby shower.
Yeah. So Nate had Parker was 6 months old.
Seven.
Just
about
old.
7.
7 months old when he was killed in Bakaba, February 4th, 2008.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Christ.
But if you want to get back to Nate as a kid, and watching his oldest brother fight cancer and never giving up. I mean, Josh was just like all these kids. He wanted to live life.
Yeah.
And he had a death sentence on it. He had glioblastoma, which is the worst kind of brain cancer. And typically it hits adults. At the time, I'll never forget looking at a pamphlet in late July, 91, at Children's Hospital. The median life expectancy was 17 weeks. But he beat it because he wanted to live life.
Yeah.
And he was a surfer, snowboarder. He played soccer, but he was more into those other sports. And Nate was a tough little kid, and he was ready to scrap all the time. But the one person in his life that he would never, ever contend with was his brother. And it wasn't because Josh was bigger, it was because he had so much respect for Josh. And to watch him die fighting, Nate had a chip on his shoulder. And Josh died when Nate was in the 8th grade. And he had a dream to be a SEAL as early as the 6th grade.
Really?
Now, his grandfather, my wife's father, was actually, this is true, unlike many claimers, he was on the PT 109 with John F. Kennedy. And Kennedy saved his life. So there was a Navy connection there.
Yeah.
My father was with the 4th Marine Division in World War II, which included Iwo Jima and Saipan. So there was a Navy connection there. So Nate wrote a paper in the 6th grade about being a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Truth be told, the movie Navy SEAL with Charlie Sheen came out that same year, but we all
got recruited different ways.
But after Josh died and Nate was getting in increasing scraps and trouble, that was the one thing that kept him in school on the straight and narrow, was his dream to be a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And Nate played, there was no football at our high school, but he played soccer and then lacrosse. and lacrosse was about as close.
Yeah, it's basically hockey on grass. Yeah.
But Nate spent a lot of time in the penalty box.
Yeah.
But he had to learn how to channel the anger. And somehow that dream came to him, and he got the chance right out of high school to go join the Navy, go to basic, and then go out to Buds. And then that was his dream. He always told us he wanted to do 20 is normal. He wanted to beat Rudy's record of 35 years. If you remember the original survivors, there was an old Navy SEAL named Rudy.
Yeah.
And that was Nate's goal, to beat Rudy's 35. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can obviously see the path of a warrior there, you know,
Yeah.
with Nate's upbringing, you know, and you know, it's funny, he was fierce, but he was fun.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, he joking all the time, you know, like constant jokes, constant pranks on everybody.
Yeah.
And so he was I would say larger than life personality, you know, 100%.
Yeah.
Like he walked in, and I remember the first time we met, we heard about, you know, this guy that was, you know, from New England. So I'm from, you know, all the New England, Northeast people kind of hang together.
Like, everyone's ears perked up. Like, oh, okay.
You know, we all kind of gravitate to the same area.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Nate walked in. He's also coming back from Arabic school. So we were like, okay, here's this guy. He pops in, big smile, kind of kicks the door open on his first day, like busts in like Kramer type thing, right? And we're like, there's no way this kid's New England accent is going to be able to speak Arabic to anybody. No one's going to understand a word he's saying. But he was unbelievable. You know, he was obviously an incredible father, you know, husband, family man, friend, teammate, and he was fierce. And it kind of almost to the point where even when he worked out, he was fierce. I think that's the premise of like how the Nate Wad was put together, because it was something that kind of fit him.
Yeah.
You know.
So that was the next thing I wanted to bring up to you was you're the one who wrote the workout, Nate.
Justin Davis and I, two of his close friends that Steve was just talking about, like you know, just put together a framework, and it was probably a couple of days. It was really a couple of days.
Yeah. It was before he was buried, put it that way.
Yeah.
In that time period.
What was that process like? You're obviously very close with him, and
yeah, and we talked about it. We talked about what's gonna. We've done a lot of workouts with Nate, right? And what did he like to do? What didn't he like to do? And like, what type of workout does it need to be? One. It had to involve something, like he loved the muscle ups, and he loved his monster kettlebell. He loved it. And I mean, I think everybody, he lived in this little cul-de-sac, and in that cul-de-sac, I'm pretty sure everybody, like the rest of the fathers in town had like a man crush on Nate.
he was the alpha dad in the cul-de-sac.
He would carry the gigantic kettlebell in the middle of the cul-de-sac and do his workout, you know, or flip tires, and everyone's like, okay, I don't know what he does for a living, but yeah, he goes away for long periods of time.
Yeah, he's gone for a month at a time, and then he comes back. And
and he also, Nate never liked to do a workout if it was even relatively easy. As far as talking about recovery, like, all right, Nate didn't really get that part. He would have to leave his soul on the ground of the.
I'm familiar with the type.
Yeah. So it had to be something pretty evil, but subtle, and we didn't want to over-program it, and that was a big part of it. And we wanted to keep it simple. And 248, February 4th, 2008. You know, the day he paid the ultimate sacrifice. Kind of the muscle ups, the handstand push-ups, and the kettlebell all came to me. So we sent the email to CrossFit headquarters. Greg Glassman responded back pretty immediately and was like, I love it.
And if I'm correct, Adam, that it was around that time that Dev Group had been shifting away from racks, you know, the weight racks, toward functional exercise, and CrossFit was it. And then I remember when they got into kettlebells, because Dev Group is Dev Group, they brought the Russian in. They brought the guy from Russia to teach them how to do kettlebells.
Yeah,
and
you're gonna do it right.
That was it for Nate. And so he actually bought a little one for Parker.
Yeah.
And then early in 2007, I had a full shoulder replacement.
Yeah.
Full shoulder replacement. About a week after that, he calls me and he goes, so Dad, you got to do the Greek, whatever. You know, and I said, Nate, what do you want me to rip the shoulder out? That's how crazy he was about kettlebell.
I have a similar story with my father. Of he got cleared after his open heart surgery to start exercising again. So brought him down into the basement gym and tried to put him through the simplest of workouts. And yeah, that wasn't happening. Yeah, he's doing sprints on the assault bike, and I'm like, Dad, slow it down, man. And then it ended with just projectile vomit. And I'm like, I tried to tell you, man. Like, you gotta slow down. So you helped write the workout. I've performed a variant of the workout in competition. What's it like seeing the workout being performed worldwide from, you know, your everyday gym goer to, you know, the elite on the competition floor? You know, what's that like, seeing that and knowing that this workout was made for my son?
I remember it was fairly early. I don't know how many years after he died, but someone sent me a YouTube clip of a tremendously gifted athlete. I think she was maybe a cross-country, world-class cross-country, and you got to be fit in that sport. And it was maybe the last round of muscle-ups, and she's working like her tail, and she's up. She finally does it, and she looks up and she goes, "Oh, Nate, like, you're killing me." And I thought that was kind of nice. I kind of liked that. He would have liked that.
He would.
He would have liked that.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Well, for the last piece, if somebody listening wants to get involved with One Summit, learn more, how can they go about doing that? How can, you know, just a everyday community member get involved if they want to help?
onesummit.org. That's the best way. We have avenues to like reach out to any of us on there. You'll get to see a little bit more about the story, kind of more the experiential learning, the pillars of education that we're actually teaching, the community events, the other events that we're doing. Like I know you picked up golf. There's a Golf Fights Cancer we're a beneficiary of, that 100 holes of golf in one day. That's going to be a mass. If you want to join,
I got to work on getting 9 holes in one day.
So those types of community events. Obviously, we're in San Diego, we're in Virginia Beach, we're in New York, and we're in Boston, major cities. And then there's obviously Stories from the Summit is also like our own channel that we really try to bring in inspirational figures and talk, and all the kids log in. You know, they come in and they're able to jump on and ask questions, and it's just that continuation, like what happens after the climb. This is a journey. It doesn't start and stop.
It's not just a
one day
activity.
It's not an event. It's like a part of the program that continues to build. So there's a lot of things on the website there, a lot of ways to get involved, volunteer, help out, donate, all that stuff. And even with the Nate Wad that we have coming up, and obviously February's upon us, and getting involved any way we can. There's a ton of affiliates that are just going out there and doing as many rounds as they can, accumulate as many, trying to find winners of an individual who can do it the most. I'd be interested to hear, what's the most rounds you've ever done?
So I only did it at regionals.
Okay.
When it was, I think it was 4 muscle ups, because they bumped it up.
They bumped it.
Yeah, so it was, I think, 4 muscle ups.
It's like a strict one.
Yeah, was it? Yeah, strict muscle ups, handstand push ups, and then single arm kettlebell snatches. And I think it was 10 rounds, and the time cap was 20 minutes.
You're the only one to win, and your time was 18:32 at your regionals, and then only 16 men to finish the whole workout well.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, because I didn't even finish 8 rounds in training, and then showed up at the competition, and I was like, oh.
It was designed for it to be strict,
Yeah.
too.
Oh,
I mean, at least,
really?
I mean, where it goes from there, obviously you let it go, and people adapt it,
Yeah.
and people crush it, and adapt. It's amazing what people are doing, and amazing what athletes like yourself, you know, continue to, you know, push the boundaries, and it seemed like impressive. So it's thanks for competing with it.
I think Nate would have liked it. Yeah.
That's incredible. One last piece. You know, little bit of just like history of like how many climbs have you guys done, and then what are you guys looking to do in the near future and the far future? You know, what's the goal of what you're hoping to grow?
So we've done roughly about 20 climbs. Like I said, we're in San Diego, New York, Virginia Beach, and Boston. But obviously, people, any family affected or impacted, could reach out, and we want to bring them in. They can fly in for any of the events. We've had 350, mentees come through. Tons of families.
Oh,
right?
so these are big groups.
Well, not at one time, but like total.
Okay.
So we try to keep it, relative, like groups of like 20 to 25. For the follow-on the next day too, we do Climb Higher, almost like the alumni event in the different areas, so they can come back in, reconnect everybody. We have about over 200 mentors, and one thing that we didn't expect is, mentors coming back. They're like, I did it one time. It's not like go forward and do good work and, battle together, but it's like they want to come back. They want to continue they want another mentee. They want to continue to do it. So that's been awesome to see the community step up big time, active, retired, the whole community, and really the whole military as well. Like people just got behind it, and it's been really cool. The future is, right now we have a children's book that is coming out that we're really excited. Awesome story about resilience and amazing pillars of stories, and spearheaded a lot with, we have an author, and then also Diane Lynch, who's our executive director. Just like really the growth and the expansion of what we've done is a testament to Diane. Just an impressive executive. It just polishes us all up and gets it done. We need somebody like that in all our lives.
And Diane gets it because her oldest boy fought that battle too. So she fully understands.
I'm sure this has to be one of those things that, like for myself, it's one of these things where, if you don't speak about it, you think you're the only one going through it. And then as soon as you bring up the topic, you have, half the people in your group kind of raise their hand like, oh no, I did that. I went through that. And it's like, oh man. And then just having that resource. So you don't feel like you're on an island by yourself. You're not only working with your devices. It's like you can talk to other people and figure out their experience, what worked, what didn't work.
Never good to suffer in silence, right? And then community, the community is the powerful thing about resilience, right? And that's what we're creating, this community of like-minded warriors, and that community grows strength, it builds resilience, and they go off and do amazing things. It's awesome to see these kids come. Now we're helping them write their college essays. Some of them are in college and coming back and volunteering now at events. So it's been almost 10 years now to see all the great stories, obviously some not so great stories, but it kind of makes our community stronger and stronger.
But they're all inspirational. Some have not the ending you wanted, but it's always inspirational. Because we always learn from the kids. Always.
Oh man. Well, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing with everyone. Hopefully we get a lot more attention on this and help keep growing it.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
The best way for this community to get involved is through the Nate Wad Challenge. Fundraiser begins on February 4th and ends on March 4th. You can sign up as an individual or a team. For more information, visit the website or click the link in the podcast description.